Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming to our family workshop about phonemic awareness in a preschool setting. Please feel free to help yourselves to any refreshments around the room. There's some water, some small snacks, and please stay to the very end to receive your child's book and stay for the raffle. My name is Alyssa Peters for those of you who don't know me, and I am a preschool teacher here at Lakehurst Elementary. This is my first year working for this district. I've been in a previous preschool classroom for the past 6 years now. But please, if you have not done so, there are handouts of today's presentation about phonemic awareness. So take one, and if you have any questions, just jot down anything throughout the presentation, and then there will be a separate question and answers at the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for coming. Please hold your questions and follow along for phonemic awareness in a preschool setting.
Before we begin, this will just be just a rundown of how tonight's presentation is going to go. So first we will go over the definition of what exactly phonemic awareness is. We will go over the different stages of development for phonemic awareness, from the simplest to the hardest, and then we will have an explanation of the different terms under phonemic awareness. The different terms are alliteration, so we'll go into detail about that, rhyming, sentence segmentation, the syllables, and onset and rim. After that, we will go over different strategies and different ways phonemic awareness can be addressed to dual language learners, and then some activities that can be done to promote and encourage phonemic awareness. When that is all done, we will have a question and answer section, so please just remember to jot down all of your questions throughout the presentation, and they will be addressed after the activities. At the very end, if you don't mind, please fill out your evaluations of tonight's presentation, and then stick around for distribution of your children's book. What is phonemic awareness? I just want everyone to just take a minute or two and come up with a definition of what you feel is best for a definition of what you think phonemic awareness means. The note card definition for phonemic awareness is that it refers to understanding the individual sounds in words, meaning that every word is made up of different sounds, multiple sounds. So at a preschool level, we're trying to get the children to understand and recognize that all words have sounds. All the letters that make up words have a specific sound. This is a chart that presents the development of a child learning phonemic awareness. So the most simplest is that they hear the oral rhymes and alliterations of words and sentences. The next step would be that they hear words in spoken sentences. After that, then they begin to hear the syllables in spoken words. A little bit more complex, they start to hear the onset and rims in words. And then at the very end, the most complex is that they hear individual phonemes in words. So we're going to go into depth more about what each of these developmental stages are. One of the first stages is alliteration. Alliteration is that the words that begin with the same sound used closely together. Some examples of alliteration for preschools are come and clean your closet. All of them starting with a C so that they could really hear the k, come and clean your closet. Another good example is Sally sold seashells by the seashore. So saying that and recognizing that the S is repeated is understanding alliteration. Another one is just saying the big brown bear. All of these are simple examples of understanding the first stage of phonemic awareness. Some great book examples for them at this stage is The Gray Goose by Mother Goose and Pigs in Pajamas by Maggie Smith. Those can be found at Barnes & Noble or any local bookstore. They're very good at the repetition of those key letters to really emphasize the G or the P or the B in any sentence or word. The next stage is all about rhyming. Rhyming words are just words that end the same. So they end with the same sounds. Some examples of just simple rhyming words are man, tan, bat, hat, bed, head. At the beginning stages, you want to really stick to those one-syllable simple words that they can relate to. Even if the rhyming words are silly and made up, just understanding at this stage that the words end the same. They start different, but they end the same. A fun game to play with preschoolers is you just go around in a circle and you see how many you can make up. So if we do head, bed, said, dead, gred, jed, it just goes on and on and on, just changing the first letter or two to make it just a silly story. Another game that we always do is we do the students' names with the banana, fana, fofana, banana, fana, fofana, bee, bye, bobana, Hannah. So just understanding that that every word can have a rhyme, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, made up. It's just a silly game for preschoolers to play. Some great book examples are Llama Llama Red Pajama by Anna Dudney, and then Mouse Mess by Lena Aspen Riley. Those are some great preschool, kindergarten level books that are all about rhyming, and it's just a great story for kids right now. The next stage is sentence segmentation. So breaking the sentences into individual words. It's important for preschoolers to understand that that you need to speak in full sentences and that a sentence is a group of words. So we can break up every sentence into segments. So some examples are the girl jumped high, and then identifying how many words or segments are in that sentence. The next one would just be to add another adjective. So you can have apple juice, and then recognizing that that's 5 segments in the sentence. Some examples to do at home is that you identify familiar short poems such as I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream, and then have the children clap their hands with each word. So I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream, and then count. So you would count each word as a separate segment, and then have them write down or just talk about that there's 10 words or segments that make up that one simple sentence. So that's a very important stage in the development of phonemic awareness, is understanding the sentence segmentation. Another stage is the syllables. A syllable is just a unit of spoken language with single, uninterrupted sound. So you can do this with everything possible. I like to start with their name. So if their name is Samantha, you would break it down to Sa-man-tha. One syllable, dad, mom, hat, cat, simple words. Two syllable words, marker, crayon, angel, Christmas. Those are all two syllable relatable words that they can relate to. And then the next step would be the three syllable words, triangle, Samantha. Any longer word, then you would go to 4 and then 5. Growing up, my teacher always had me to put my hand underneath my chin. So every time your bottom jaw moved, you would recognize that that would be a separate syllable. But now, being a teacher, I've realized that clapping is much more useful for preschoolers to understand that every time you clap, it's a different syllable within that single word. So what you can do is, when talking, clap each sound you hear. So you would ask them to say a word, you repeat it slowly, and then clap all the syllables. So if you were to start with bear, you would ask them to repeat the word bear very slowly, and then clap the word. So it would just be one simple clap. Then you can do the word alphabet, because they are familiar with their alphabet. And you would have them say it, and you can say it and role model it. And then they can say it slowly, alphabet. And then the third time, have them clap it, alphabet. So that they can understand that, yes, it is one word, but it has 3 syllables for alphabet. You can also do it with animals. So you can go around in a circle or just during dinner and go over different animals that they know. So you would do alligator for 4 syllables. And just keep clapping and adding on different categories or different animals or anything that you would like to do, colors, shapes, and just clap out the different syllables within those relatable words. And the last stage of development for phonemic awareness is onset and rim. So onset is the beginning sound of the word, and then rim is the vowel and consonant that follows it. It follows after the initial sound. So for the word bag, b would be the onset, and ag, the ag, would be the rim. For grin, it would be the gr, because that's the initial sound, not letters. The initial sound, gr, in would be the rim. Fork would be, the F would be the onset, and the ORK would be the rim. You can do this as a fun game, putting different endings of words on one flashcard, and the beginning letter or letters on another flashcard, and have your children try to piece together words with pictures on them. So each picture would have if it was a bear, it would be a B with a bear on one side and an EAR with a bear on the other side. So then they can find the match of the 2 pictures that are the same, and then see that a B and then EAR makes up the word bear. You do this with same thing as the syllables with colors, just change the categories. But at a preschool level, it's important to always have a picture with the word so that they can see and recognize the letters that spell out the word, and then it correlates with the picture that they are trying to find. Some great book examples are Fox in Socks by Dr. Seuss, and then Clang Clang Beep Beep, Listen to the City by Robert Burleigh. Those are very good books because it's preschool level, and it'll go over the beginning sounds of simple words. So that is the onset and rim. This is the last stage of development for understanding phonemic awareness. When starting to learn about phonological awareness or phonemic awareness, it's important to know that there's a smallest unit of sound in speech, and those are called the phonemes. The smallest unit sound in speech is some examples are for hat. You would break down each individual sound of each letter. At. So this is the beginning stages of reading. For city, since the C does not make a K sound, it would be an S. And since the Y does not make a Y sound, it would be an E. So since it's the sounds. So it would be a S-I-T-E. It. E. For went, you would just sound it out. W, e, n, t. So you can break this down into each individual letter sound. So some other examples would be b, a, g. So really understanding the phonics of every letter in the alphabet and then piecing those letters together to form words. In preschool, we keep it simple and we start with their letters of their names. So if their name is Matt, you would have them recognize the M and know that the M sound says M. The A goes A and then a T. So M, A, T. So that they can start recognizing their name and then understanding that each letter has a sound that makes up their word. As a teacher, I really believe that children learn best during play, positive play, and whether he is aware of it or not, by listening to and playing around with the sounds and language, they're actually building an important foundation for learning to read. These playful processes are a part of phonemic awareness, which research has found to be the best predictor of reading success in young children. When children are so young, they adapt so quickly. So if they have a bad experience when they're 3 or 4 or 5 with not understanding letters or sounds or simple words, it's going to affect their ability to read later on and throughout life. So it's very important for them to have a positive environment and place of learning during this time, because it's so important for them to stay focused and keep that playful atmosphere for the development of the phonemic awareness right now. This is a little chart that I was found. A university did a study on children to see where and what they were developing for phonological awareness. Your children should be able to track specific words and sentences, so word awareness, around 1.5 years old to 2 years old. By age 4, they should be understanding rhyme and alliteration. So the children's stories, they utilize these tactics. Sally sells seashores, like we said before, or any of the simple Dr. Seuss books, just to recognize the different rhyming words. By 5, around kindergarten level, they start recognizing that words have syllables, and they understand that they can manipulate them in a basic manner, the simple syllables. By 5.5 years old, they can start developing rhyme manipulation. They can produce a rhyme that's more difficult than just understanding one, so that they can make up their own silly sonic song. Anywhere between 6 and 9 years old is when they develop their phoneme awareness. Phoneme awareness is the ability for the children to manipulate phonemes, so mentally alter words by adding or deleting phonemes. So that would be the beginning letter, changing it, or the ending of a word by alternating it to make it into a different word. Phonemic awareness and dual language learners. When children are young, they adapt and absorb everything, whether they understand it fully yet or not. They absorb it. So phonological awareness skills develop in one language. They can transfer to another language, even if those skills aren't in development yet. It begins at birth and then improves gradually over time. Before the age of 3, it's very difficult for them to process everything, but it's very important to reiterate it in both languages with pictures. Here are some tips for dual language learners. First, recognize the child's ability in first language. Something that I like to do in my classes is pair one of my dual language learners or English language learners with someone, one of the other students whose first language is English. So I like to pair them up so that they can help each other. Another tip is to focus on words that the children already know. So presenting material that is new won't be beneficial for dual language learners learning phonemic awareness. So you want to present those simple words in their home language that they're already familiar with. We have to remember that spoken sounds vary from speaker to speaker, and then accept approximations of children in building skills. Some more is just you encourage the children to talk by providing prompts when the children need in expressing themselves. You can model it. Tell Bobby, "May I have the red crayon now?" If they do present the question or a sentence a little different than we would in English. And when conversing with students or children, it's important to try to ask questions that are open-ended, that'll get a bigger response out. So instead of just saying, like, "What is the doll's name?" you can say, "Why do you like this doll best?" So that you can get more of a response out of them in their home language to best fit what they need and to get them where we need them to be. Some fun activities to do at home and some activities that I do with your children in school are as followed. A letter sound cup. So you collect small objects, one for every letter in the alphabet, and then children sort the small objects into the letter cup by its beginning sound. So for A, you can have alligator. B, you could have a bear. They have to be objects that the kids know, so that they can find the letters themselves. The first time you do it, just watch them and guide them into which beginning sound is for each letter. But this is a fun activity. They can even come to the store with you or go around your house together and collect the objects to put in a big bin, and then break them up into little Dixie cups or little plastic baggies even, and then write the letters with your children so that they can identify the sound and the letter together and see what object it is before they play the game, so that they're familiar with everything. Another cool game is rhyming match game. So you would have one word on one piece of paper and another word on another piece of paper that rhymes. So you could have care on one and bear on another, or hat on one card and bat on the other. And they have to try to find the rhyming words. They sell these in puzzles as well, so the puzzle pieces only fit together with their rhyming word. It's very important to read to your children. So all of these stages of development all have books that go with them. So read to your children, do silly rhymes, make up your own stories. Another fun game is called Bippity Boppity Bumblebee. It's something that we do in a large group or transitioning, or sometimes when we go on class trips, we'll sing this on the bus. All you do is you do Bippity Boppity Bumblebee, can you say your name for me? So you have them say their name first. So if their name is Sebastian, they would say Sebastian. And then you would have them, can you clap it? So they would go Sebastian, that would be 3 claps. And then you would say, can you stomp it? And then they would stomp it again. Sebastian, that would be 3 stomps. And then you can have them snap it. Snapping is a little difficult for preschoolers, but it's fun for them to try. Some preschoolers can do it with their fingers. And then they would snap it 3 times. And then they would ask a child, Bippity Boppity Bumblebee, can you say your name for me? So it also allows them to take turns and stay active while their friends are going as well. And then they can hear that every child has a different number or the same number. So Sebastian and Samantha would have the same amount of claps, stomps, and snaps, whereas Steve would only have 1. So that's a fun little math and literacy activity to do with your children. Now we're going to watch a short video of some more great activities that you can do with your children at home.
The term phonological awareness sounds complicated, but it just means being able to hear the small sounds that make up words. Simply knowing why cat, rat, and bat are different words is an amazing feat for children. This skill will help them to sound out written words when they are ready to become readers.
Here is the blue sheep. Here is the... Who's that?
Red sheep.
The red sheep. Here is the thin sheep.
Books with rhymes, alliteration, and nonsense words are fun, and they increase your child's language skills.
Here's the
Afraid one?
the scared sheep. Here is the
Brave.
sheep.
Reading a silly book, like a Dr. Seuss story that plays with language, rhymes, and silly pretend words, gives your son or daughter a better sense of which sounds make up words and which words sound alike.
Here is the near sheep. Here is the far sheep. But where is the green sheep?
You can also make up your own goofy poems or try to think of rhyming words.
Then we're going to hop and stop. And then we're going to drop.
Learning about how the sounds in language work is as easy as singing the name game. Let's try Sophie. Sophie, Sophie, Bobofi, Banana, Fana, Fofofi, Me, Mine, Momofi. Sophie. You'll probably have as much fun with it as they do.
In conclusion, phonemic awareness is the ability to hear, identify, and manipulate individual sounds or phonemes in words. Just remember that it's very important to read to your children in their home language, and because it strengthens their language skills. Just remember, when reading to your children, it is important to teach them the parts of the book, like the cover page, or that there's an author who writes the words and an illustrator who draws the pictures. Also, it's fun if they read to you. So if you have the 2 same books that you read every other night to your children or morning, switch it up and have them read to you. Also know, before children can begin to read, they must know the sounds of the letters first. So they must have alphabet knowledge, and then recognize the letters after that with their sounds. So that's when the activities of the sound cup game come into play, and the silly sentence stories for recognizing that so that they can hear the sounds of the letters to encourage reading the words then after that. Everything presented to you tonight is the standards of the National Association of Education from Young Children. The standards address are number 1, promoting child development and learning. 1B, knowing and understanding the multiple influences of early development and learning. And 1C, using developmentally. These are some of the references that I used for my charts and my facts about phonological awareness. One was the psychology website, the development in cross-language transfers from phonological awareness. Another one was the study that they did at the university of the phonological development in children, the stages and the overview for it. Another one was all about preschool and the phonics and phonemic awareness in that. And then another one that I used was from a Virginia-based school about the first stages of reading. Now is the time to ask any questions that you have about phonemic awareness. The question is, how is phonics different from phonemic awareness? Phonemic awareness is spoken words, where phonics deals with learning sound and spelling relationship and its association with print. So phonemic awareness is understanding that the words are made up of sounds, but phonemic awareness is not the same thing because it deals with the sounds in spoken word. So it's purely oral. Another question is, how can I help my son practice blending sounds as he reads beginning words? There's a lot you can do to practice. So one way is to use modeling to introduce these skills. So as you read to your child, sound out some of the words before you say them. Also, you can make a game to practice blending. So give your child a picture of a dog and have him sound out the name while placing pebbles or little markers on each individual sound of the word. So it's composed of 3 sounds. Therefore, they have to have 3 stones or pebbles or whatever little markers you're using. So you can practice counting syllables by clapping or using your fingers to tap out the number of different sounds so that they can start recognizing the different syllables and sounds to blend the words together. Please take a second to fill out your evaluation form. It's at the end of your presentation booklet that I handed out in the beginning. And then when you put your evaluation on the desk over in the back, please pick up your child's book. Thank you.
That concludes our presentation for today about phonemic awareness in a preschool setting. Please, if you have any questions after this presentation is over, do not hesitate to contact me. My email address is apeters@lakehurstschool.org, and I'll get back to you with any concerns or questions that you have about phonological awareness or literacy-related questions for preschool students. This presentation will also be posted on my website for future references and for anyone that wasn't able to attend tonight's workshop for phonemic awareness. So thanks again for joining us tonight, and I really appreciate your participation.